The non-stop radio show.
Non-stop hip-hop.
The hottest underground hip-hop and R&B show on this side of the net.
I got the no never mind. When you did your best to deliver piece of your life, a lovelorn sliver, to someone poor enough to be a man, to someone rich enough to win your hand. Didn't you think you were on the brink, living in your own frame, leaving the room like a washed out stain? Now you write me a letter, trying to make you feel better, but your words will not suffice, 'cause you took away my nights with cold fights, hard lights, and highly individual uptight.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Once again, it's your boy Emilio Wegbar. And I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into tonight's presentation as EJP Entertainment presents the Artist Spotlight. You already know what it is. We at the point of our show where we are joined by tonight's special guest. But before we do so, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you go follow us on IG at EJP_entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP Entertainment. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Once again, it's your boy Emilio Wegbar, and I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into yet another presentation of this show. And if you haven't done so yet, we will greatly appreciate it if you go and follow us on IG at EJP_entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP Entertainment. For those of y'all that would like to check out our video content, please make sure you go over to our YouTube channel and check out EJP Entertainment. Be sure to like and share the videos. And if you happen to enjoy the presentations, we would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, folks, we are now at the point of our show where we are joined by tonight's special guest. And here on the line with me, I have with us David Deacon. So please put your hands together and help me welcome him to the show. David, how's everything? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks very much for having me on, and things are very good. Thank you.
That's good to hear, man. So with that being said, we normally at this point, we would like to give, our guests the opportunity to, introduce themselves to the audience, tell them a little bit about themselves, and if you would like, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, well, I don't know. What I can say is I've been writing music and poetry for a long time. Did a bunch of music in the 90s that sold 10,000 CDs off the stage, basically, and realized that maybe with the way the world's going today and the internet, that this niche audience that I had could actually be a pretty big audience when I moved it out. So I'm writing new material, having a good time doing it. It's kind of, I don't know, Americana, new blues, that sort of vibe, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's good to hear. So now let me ask you, being that, you really started off in the 90s with your music career, then you took a little bit of a pause and you explored other life opportunities and you came back to the music industry. What do you find different that you like now about the industry compared to what it was back when you originally got started?
I don't know. I think everything's always beautiful in its own time in a way, right? When you look back at the 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s and you say you can find a beauty in what was going on in the music scene at any time. What I liked in the 90s, I really liked that we had a strong gigging world and we played a lot of different venues within 500 miles of where I lived. And we actually, did okay with that, and as I said, sold 10,000 CDs. What I like about today is the idea that, you can get to literally millions of people potentially, but it's a tough game to get out there and try and figure out how they're going to follow you, how you're going to get their attention, because there's just like a million tentacles out there on the internet trying to pull you into their world.
I truly recognize and understand what you're saying with that one, because it's definitely with so many people out there that has music and everybody out there is using social media as a way to promote their music. It does definitely make it a lot difficult to stand out. But like you said, the beauty of it is the fact that you get the opportunity to reach more people at a certain time than what you would like if you were just in person and then, you know, doing a show or selling CDs, physical copies and stuff like that. But with that being said, man, you know, as far as, you know, everything having changed after the COVID pandemic, and, you know, most of your style is basically spoken word and doing poetry and stuff like that, how has that changed your approach to the way you do what you do?
Actually, my new album, which is about to come out, will come out in early March, is not mainly spoken word. It's only got a little bit of spoken word. I've moved to mainly singing.
Okay.
I started out in spoken word and had fun doing that. It started out in New York City. I went into a bar one time, managed to get myself on the stage as their poet for the night, and then I got invited back and started to get me thinking about performing that way. But, you know, I don't know. I think really in music, in art, in anything you're doing, it's got to do with, you know, find out what it is you want to say and then start saying it. And I'm saying what I want to say now, but it is different than what I was saying back then. How I'm saying it is different. And the music is way more integral to what I'm doing. So that's where it is.
Okay. And with that said, you know, as you just mentioned that you're preparing to release a project, a 10-track album, which is called 4.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, what was the concept behind it, and what was your process towards arriving at this point with your music?
Well, you know, from sort of 93 through to 2001, I did 3 CDs, and they were really heavily influenced by my musician friends. Mm-hmm. And no disrespect to them, but what I realized when I looked back on it was the first one was when it was clearest and was closest to what I wanted to do. The other 2 really weren't. And I thought, you know what? When I come back to music, I want to do just what I want to do. And that is what I'm going to focus on, period. And that's what I've done. And I got to say, I'm really happy with this album. I don't cringe when I hear anything on it, which I did with some of the old stuff. And, you know, it's like I didn't compromise at all. So, yeah, that's where I stand. I feel good about it. I'm excited about it. I'm pleased that, you know, we released our sort of warm-up track to try and get me going again, and we've now had, you know, 19,000 views on YouTube in 1 month, and that's kind of cool. It's not, you know, breaking the world down, but it's not bad. And it's saying, yeah, there are people out there that are getting what I'm doing, and maybe with the release of the album, I'll be able to start to crack it up a little higher.
Okay. And you just recently put out, you know, your single titled No Nevermind, which I was just listening to. And that was kind of, you know, thinking back and listening to it. And I'm like, it kind of reminds me of that song, that old song called Monster Mash. And I'm like, it's a very entertaining song. And I really like the way, you know, the song is composed and put together. What other reactions have you gotten from people that have listened to this record?
I guess, you know, one of the big things is because while it sounds like it's sung in a way, it's actually spoken word, and there's a lot of people who've responded to that sound and liking the voice and saying that's cool. My 9-year-old daughter says, "Hey, Dad, wouldn't it be cool if you can make a living with your voice?" and I know she's like, you know, feeling, well, what the hell, man? That's not what pop music's about, and I know that. But yeah, some people like the voice, some people like the attitude. There's this sort of, you know, the whole idea of the song is, you know, we know 2 things in life. We know love and we know breakups, right? Everybody knows those 2 things. And this one's about a breakup. And what do we do when we have a breakup? We go, oh yeah, I don't really care about that. So I got the no, never mind. And, you know, the other thing is you tend to blame the other. So I got in the lyric there, you know, 'cause you took away my nights with cold fights, hard lights, and highly individual uptights. So, there's a little bit of that, oh yeah, it's all your fault. And then there's also, a little bit of humor in it, when I go, okay, so now you write me a letter trying to make you feel better. So it's got all those elements that go through with, I don't know, how we try and cope with, how we try and manage, how a breakup goes. And yeah, I'm proud of the song. I think it's got a good groove. I think it's got a good attitude. It's kind of dripping with attitude in a way, but not in a mean way, just in a little bit humorous, little bit, yeah, this is what we do when we get slapped down the street.
I understand that. And it's interesting that you bring that up about, making a career with your voice. And I want to ask, have you ever considered like doing any kind of like voice acting or any kind of thing like that uses your voice other than just the scope of making music?
Actually, I did. I actually had a series called Frontiers of Construction, which was syndicated worldwide, which I was the narrator for. Okay. It was kind of cool. I was traveling a bit at the time too, here and there, and I heard my show in England and I heard it in China, which is really wild. But yeah, I did do that. And for 3 years, I thought it was a really cool show, but it got changed out for something else in the end. Anyway, so yeah, I did that. I also did a few commercials, and so if you want one, Pizza Pops, here's what it would be. Pizza Pops, they got more stuff. There you go, man. That's the best I can give you.
You definitely do got a cool voice, man. I like that. And it's crazy that you mentioned, the narration part of voice acting, because my wife was listening to your song too, and she said it kind of made her feel like you was narrating the song as the song was playing and everything like that. Do you get that ironically when people listen to your music?
Yeah, I've been doing different things too. Like on this new album is a song called California Has No Winter, and it's got this spoken part, where it's, there's no snow at all. Time is only a clock, no need to take stock, and it's done sort of spoken word like, and then it goes, California has no winter. So it just shifts up into the song, right? But it does a little bit of that spoken word thing. And I don't know, it's how I feel things that I end up speaking or singing them. And I got another song on that album called Poetry, and it's mainly sung, but the bridge on it is spoken. And I don't know if you want me to do it. It goes sort of like this. It goes, in the silence in the room, I hated missing you at all. When the poet's on the high wire, only beauty takes the fall. You were whispers, you were strands, you were almost nothing more. Light from a dark window, the night's darkness at the door. Poetry just falls out of my mouth when I'm talking about you. So, see what I mean? I don't know, man. It's like move it from one to the other, and just try and engage the audience. Try and have them feel like you're talking to them is how I feel.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. I like that. I could definitely see how, the poetry background that you have, and also just, just the sound of your voice, how it can, draw in listeners and get them, to pay attention to the words that you're saying. And I go back to the point what you just said about California has no winters. I wonder if people out there that will be listening to this particular interview now will actually hit you up and be like, come on, man, now you're saying that California has no winters. Look what's been going on lately with all the snow and stuff that we've been getting. How do you feel about that?
Okay, so what I'm thinking is when is America going to wake up to the fact that climate change is real? And I'll say, let's have that conversation, baby, because for the last 10 years, well, I don't know, not the Obama administration, but people have not been taking this seriously. And certainly, we know the one after that sure as heck didn't. guys, pay attention. You're going to have a winter pretty damn soon. Here comes Canada.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like it's been crazy the way we've been seeing things. Cause like I know, like Northern California gets snow, but it's like just to see it in other different areas, and then other areas that you would normally not see get snow, like places like Texas, places like Georgia, where they had
Texas was having like record lows again,
wow.
just a little while ago. Folks, we got to pay attention. Really, they never should have called it global warming. They should have said it's climate change. Mm-hmm. It's a shift in the climate that's happening because of this. And that's what we're seeing. People keep on talking about these 100-year events right now and how bad they are. Anyway, don't get me going on that stuff, because then I'm going to have to write some other thing. I have one that's basically in my head, and it's called Anthem Y, and it's about, Mother Nature, and it's got, and if you want to travel through the legions at her gate, untie yourself from the distant moon, untie yourself from fate. Because I'll tell you, man, we've cut her with her instruments, we've bled her with our knives, and when she wants some back from us, she's taking it in lives. That's what I'm saying.
I like that one right there. Now, let me ask you, this is something like you can touch on it or you don't have to. But I just want to ask you because, I just like to, get an understanding of what people think and how they feel about this situation as it pertains to climate change. Do you feel like it's man-made, or do you feel like this is just something that is just, how the way the earth is evolving?
You know what? I love that. I think that is a really, really intelligent question. And personally, I think there is absolutely a man-made element to this.
Okay.
That is, to me, what the science is telling us. But I do understand people, when people say, you know what, look at the entire, tens and 20s and 30,000s of years in history, and where are we in that? Yeah, but guess what? There was an ice age, and hey, baby, do we want to go back to that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, right. All I want to say is, yeah, I hear you about that stuff, but maybe we want to try and find our own way around some of this. So I do believe we need to sort some of this out, but I do not think it's an unintelligent argument to say this is part of life's history and the world's history.
No, I can definitely understand that one. And with that being said, being that we touched on this topic, and there's a whole lot of other things that are going on right now in the world as well. After music, would you see yourself like doing kind of like, like speaking engagements, or, engaging yourself in conversations and discussions that center around these type of topics?
Yeah, that's interesting. I speak of my 9-year-old daughter. She asks me the most intelligent questions. She looks at what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia, and she says, Dad, don't people understand that war doesn't work? It's like, hey, baby, wow. No, they don't. But how do I explain, and how do I discuss that? We went into, there's a song in this new album called Rising Up Again, and it starts out, I come from a very nice town, a town she calls her home. And how did that happen? She and I went to a Black Lives Matter rally, and I thought, I'm in a pretty white bread town. I thought, we need to be there just in case, just to make sure there's people there. And anyway, it turned out to be an awesome, big turnout. Really nice quality event. Like, just the vibe and the whole place was unbelievable. And we're driving home, and she says to me, you know what, Dad? We live in a very nice town. And I thought, that's so cool. That's what she's taking away from this. And I think we all got to put our part back in. I don't know that I really want to do speaking or politics and stuff. I don't think I do. But I do think I want to write songs and write things that speak to people in a way that cause them to say, hey, man, maybe we should think about this a little, Anyway, I think I'm I did some political shit when I was, pardon me.
Oh, you're good.
When I was young. But, you know, bottom line is, I think now it's about art and trying to get across ideas that way.
I completely respect that one. It's very impressive for a 9-year-old young lady to know and figure out something that most adults, especially politicians, haven't figured out yet, that war does not work. And it's very impressive that she, said that to you, because I'm like, I don't understand why these people keep thinking that, wars is the way to go when it comes to like solving differences. Now, I understand that it does happen from time to time, but this whole thing with Russia and Ukraine, I can honestly say I totally don't agree with it, especially like, with the things that's going on here in our own country that people are suffering from as a result of all this that's happening right now over there. I'm like, I think the focus should be back as to what's going on, here in the United States, what people are going through in their own personal lives, with the inflation and all that kind of stuff that's causing people to really like struggle right now with hard times going forward,
But and we're getting into a little bit of that political thing, but when you think about that, they have to understand it is not separated from the rest of the world. The world has become smaller and smaller and smaller. And the communication that's going on means that you can't be isolated from that. And, in the 20th century with World War I and World War II, they learned that to some degree. And let's face it, it's amazing what America did then. Going to war for other people in other countries, understanding their freedom was contingent on American freedom in a way too. It's like you can't lose those things. So all I'm saying is what my daughter's asking, I think, are really good universal questions. But I think there's something else that goes on there, and that is and we have to acknowledge, there are some really not good people out there in the world. And we got to think about what's happened in America over the last 10 years too and say, hey man, do we think America's democracy is in good shape compared to where it was, 20 years ago? Because personally, I don't know that it is. And I think that there's a polarization that is being created that's sad. It's not about humanity. It's about power. Yeah. And it's man, that gets black. That gets tricky. That gets bleak.
Yeah, that does get very murky. And I really do like that response that you give, man. And it's just like, I don't really like to get too much into politics either, and I'm not going to go any further as far as politics. But, these are some real, these are some real discussions that need to be had. There are some really foul people out there in the world, But when it comes down to it, the one thing that we do have here that we can all share that's alike is the fact that we have this art form that we have that we call music, that we are able to be expressive, with the way we feel and being able to talk about the way things are happening in our world and also in our own personal world. That's the one thing I do love about music. What about you?
You know what? Totally. And that's why I'm really focused on that. And one of my other new songs in there is called The Arc of Life. And, it's about, it's the arc of life and it's ours alone. What we do is what we are. It's what you and I were just talking about. Hey, let's make sure we're living our lives the way we think it is, because that's our arc of life. That's almost written stone. That's the thing that is who we are. So let's live to that.
I totally agree. And now with this being said, with your, album getting ready to be released real soon, like how do you feel in anticipation of your album getting ready to be released? Are you planning to do like any kind of like shows and showcases, maybe travel around and, promote your album that way?
I'm actually not this time. What I'm going to do is wait and see what happens on the internet, whether we get the kind of traction I'd hoped for. I did for almost 10 years that, man, traveling around, sleeping in really crappy hotels. One of them was called the Do Drop In, and we ended up spray painting out do and to turn it into Don't Drop In. It was like, honest to God, you got no money, you're doing your best, you do your thing, and you go, I'm going to wait and see whether I got some connection here. And if I don't, I'm going to just keep on trying to work on how I get a connection, you know, through social media and other things. Because I'm not ready to spend those days on the road when people, I don't know where they're at right now after COVID and what they're going to see and what they're not. Maybe that'll change. I hope it will, because I love gigging and I love being on the road, but I don't want to be in bleak hotels again. I really don't.
Trust me, I understand. I get it wholeheartedly. But if the opportunity was to arise and say somebody wanted to fund you, like a tour for you, or, you know, give you a record deal or something of that extent, would you be open to it, or is it just kind of like you just understand your own?
Totally, man. Absolutely. I love it. There's nothing better than having an audience to connect with. And I had a few, you know, some really memorable moments on stage where I got to tell you, it's like that felt so good. My bones felt good. You know, it's like, I don't know how else to express it. I never felt energy like that actually went into the marrow of my bones. And I've had that on stage, and I'd love to do that again. But I want to be practical about it, so we'll just see how it goes.
Okay, I can definitely understand that one. And, you know, I also, you know, see that, you know, after you drop 4 and, you know, you get that out there for a little while and see what it does. And I also understand that you have a second album that you have, you know, practically already prepared. Now, are you using the success, or are you waiting to see what's going to happen with this album to determine whether or not you're going to release that one, or you're going to release it anyway?
No, I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
I already have, you know, 6 songs ready for it.
Okay.
I have one song in particular that I'm really excited about on that one, which is called Soldiers of the Universe. And it's like, I don't know, it's a weird thing, because you know how reggae is on the downbeat is in the last beat of a bar, you know, and it just changed the whole vibe of music in a way. But reggae is so particular. It's, you know, it's only that or what we're normally used to. And anyway, I think we got one on the 3rd downbeat. It's really weird. It's a kind of cool vibe, and it's where I wanted to go with some of the stuff you and I have been talking about, you know, what is our game? What are we, you know, what are we as soldiers of the universe, as we, you know, fight with a weakened hand, trying to make something go through the silver night, man. I don't know. I'm loving the idea of continuing to write new stuff, new music, new ideas, until I don't have any more to say.
I understand that one. So now, as we get ready to get down into closing, and one thing I always like to ask every guest that come onto this platform, because, you know, a lot of people are short-sighted when it comes to making music. Everybody just mainly focuses on the right now. Nobody really thinks ahead, you know, longevity or anything of that nature. But when you finally decide that you want to, you know, take a step back from making music and you just want to, you know, get back into doing other things in life, what do you want to be able to look back at your your music career and be able to say that you was proud to have accomplished?
You know, I've done, as you may know, because you might have read a bit of the background, I've done a number of different things. I've raced at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I've raced at the 24 Hours of Daytona. I won a Canadian Racing Championship. I painted in Paris, and I sold art and exhibitions, and I've done music now. And you know what? I got nothing that I want to be thinking back on and say, oh, I didn't get that done. I'm just going to keep doing things that I did. And whatever it is, whatever is occurring to me, and it comes from this. When I was 22, I had a racing accident on my motorcycle. I arrived at a hospital basically dead on arrival. They did 11 hours of neurosurgery. I was in a coma for a week. I came out of it, and I looked at my life and I said, you know what? If I hadn't survived, I wouldn't have changed a thing from my life prior to that, because I was so engaged. and I want to live the rest of my life the same way. And here I am today, and I feel like, yeah, that's what I've been doing. And so I don't know what it's going to be. I really don't. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing right now. I'm in a really creative period with my music, and I'm loving it, and that's what I'm doing.
Hey, I like that one. And for anybody else out there that was listening right now that would like to get in contact with you, that would like to, listen to more of your music, hear more of your poetry, even see some of your paintings and everything, or maybe even invite you to come onto their show,
yeah,
how
check
could
it
they
out? Yeah, check it out on ddeacon.com. It's really easy. ddeacon.com. Check it out. Well, it's the HTTP// you know what I mean. But it's ddeacon.com. It's just as simple as that, ddeacon.com. And yeah, my poetry's there, my paintings are there, my racing's there, and my music's there. And I'd love to connect. I'm looking for friends to talk to out in this world who think the same way I do.
I like that answer right there. And David, we want to say thank you, man. We do appreciate you for taking the time out to call here to the show. Really had a very good, conversation with you, man. Hopefully that we could have, more conversations like this going forward. And hopefully you won't be a stranger, man. Hopefully you'll come back onto the show, man. We could talk more, especially after you get ready to release your new album and then, anything else that goes on after that.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. Really enjoyed the interview. I would love to actually chat with you again. Take care.
You take care as well. And to everybody else out there, keep it locked and stay tuned, because up next, we about to get into Dave and Deacon's new single titled No Nevermind here on the show. So keep it locked. It's your boy Emilio Weckbar, and we'll be back with much more right after this.
I got the no never mind. When you did your best to deliver piece of your life, a lovelorn sliver, to someone poor enough to be a man, to someone rich enough to win your hand. Didn't you think you were on the brink, living in your own frame, leaving the room like a washed out stain? Now you write me a letter, trying to make you feel better, but your words will not suffice. 'Cause you took away my nights with cold fights, hard lights, and highly individual uptights. I got the no never mind. So there are veils in the dark and a fever in your heart, 'cause you lost your ordinary gain to a man who feels no pain, as he bestows useless and weary woes on your very pretty head in your large and very empty bed. And you find your body unswayed out on the sidelines where you've strayed, and the river of your esteem created this unlikely dream. Now it's just a wine of desireless time, lost indecision and your former friend's derision. I got the no never mind. I got the no never mind. I got the no never mind. Now you write me a letter, trying to make you feel better, but your words will not suffice. 'Cause you took away my nights with cold fights, hard lights, and highly individual uptights. I got the no never mind. I got the